Hello, welcome to the session on analytical reasoning. What is analytical reasoning? It is reasoning by analysis. And what is analysis? Comprehension of a particular situation by looking at all angles and possibilities is what is called analysis. What is reasoning? Reasoning means understanding all possibilities and reaching a conclusion from those possibilities. So, this set of questions is there in the tests for knowing your analytical capabilities and your skills of arriving at solutions for different problems. As you would know, modern day engineers and graduates need problem solving abilities a lot more because we are in the information age and comprehension of information, analysis, and problem solving are the more important skills required to live in today's world. Any aptitude test will have analytical reasoning questions. These types of questions have been found in PSC tests, bank tests, placement tests, MAT, CAT, CMAT, GRE, GMAT, and even in the IAS tests. So, these are definitely very important questions, and an inability to attempt these questions may result in poor performances in such tests. The standard format of analytical questions is that there will be directions as to how to proceed in attempting the questions, which will be followed by the paragraph that will give you some information. Based on those pieces of information, questions will be asked. So, attempts should also be done in the same format. First, the directions should be read, then, the data should be read and understood simultaneously, then, the questions should be read, and then you can start answering the questions. It is very important that the questions should also be read along with the data because the same data can yield many results, but the requirement is what we need to address and not any random analysis. So, we have to read the questions to know what is to be analyzed and from what data we should reason out the solutions. There are three important kinds of questions in analytical reasoning area. 1. Arrangement questions. 2. Selection questions. And 3. Puzzles. In arrangement questions, there will be data given, and under certain constraints, the data given needs to be arranged. In selection questions also, data is given. You have to select required set of data from a larger set of data, again under set of constraints. Puzzles are the kinds of questions where you use your common sense and observation to answer the questions. These are the kinds of questions that we used to solve in comic books in our younger days. Arrangement questions are of two types. 1. Equality based questions, and 2. Inequality based questions. In equality based questions, the number of positions to which data needs to be arranged to will be the same as the number of pieces of data available. The arrangement of the objects and the spaces needed for those objects will be the same. In inequality based questions, the number of subjects will be more and the number of spaces will be less. So, there will be more possibilities for arrangement of data. Here, the requirement is to 1. Choose the correct arrangement, or 2. Choose the number of possible arrangements. As per the question, we can choose the preferred arrangement from the available set of arrangements or count the number of arrangements. Let us try and do a problem. Refer to questions Q1 to Q4. 6 swimmers A, B, C, D, E, and F compete in a race. The outcome is as follows. 1. B does not win. 2. Only two swimmers separate E and D. 3. A is behind D and E. 4. B is ahead of E with one swimmer intervening. 5. F is ahead of D. And now the questions. Question number 1. Who stood fifth in the race? Options: A for A, B for B, C for C, D for D, and E for E. Question number 2. How many swimmers separate A and F? Note, there is an option E, data insufficient, in this question. Question number 3. The swimmer between C and E is. Here again, you have a peculiar option called none as the option A. Question number 4. If at the end of the race, swimmer D is disqualified by the judges, then swimmer B finishes in which place? On seeing these questions, the first thing that strikes our mind is, how do we start attempting this set of questions? The thumb rule suggests that we should start from the statement that gives us information about the maximum number of positions. Here, the statement that gives us information about maximum number of positions is statement 2. Only two swimmers separate E and D. Now, we have information about 4 positions, E, D, and 2 swimmers in between. So, the arrangement could be E dash dash D or D dash dash E. Now that we have finished the information that gives us 4 positions, we look at information that provides us data about 3 places. This is there in statement 4. B is ahead of E with one swimmer intervening. Now, combining both the statements, we have 2 arrangements. 1. B dash E dash dash D or D B dash E. Now, putting statement 3 into the picture will yield 2 arrangements. B dash E dash dash D A or D B dash E A. The first one is not possible because we only have 6 people and there are 7 positions in the arrangement. Look carefully at statement 5. It says F is ahead of D. Putting that in the second arrangement, we get FDB dash EA. And we have only C left out. So the only possible arrangement is FDB CEA. Repeat, FDB CEA. The method which we have discussed here is what we call the classical method. Going in an orderly manner will help you reach the answer. But while we are in the test, we might not be able to attempt the questions in such an ordered way. This is because we will be tense and that calmness of mind might not be there. Chances are more that we will not be able to have a clear mind with no tension. An exam situation is entirely different from a practice situation because of the pressure associated with it. There is much to lose in an exam situation, whereas there is nothing to lose in a practice situation. There is nothing like it if you can keep your cool in the exam situation and attempt such questions in the classical method. But mostly, chances are that you will not be able to do it. You will still attempt that question. The method will be the tried and tested and the immediate fallback option of trial and error. Here, there are a few things that you need to know. 1. In most cases, the trials will result in error. You should be willing to accept it. Second, every error will take you closer to the answer. So do not stop the attempt if you do not end in the right answer immediately. And finally, please be sure that your arrangement is correct and then only mark the answers. This is very important because in trial and error, we are trying to get an answer and most probably we will overlook some issue or the other in pursuit of the answer. It is very important that we make sure that the answer is correct before we mark them. These kinds of questions will come in a block, and if the arrangement is wrong, all answers will be wrong, and if you get 4 or 5 wrong at one go after having spent considerable time, it will be a total waste of an exercise. How do we make sure the arrangement is correct? We should go back and check with all initial conditions before we make sure the arrangement is correct. Please note the word all. We should go back and check with all initial conditions before we make sure the arrangement is correct. Even if we check only 4 out of the 5 initial conditions, the answer could very well be wrong. If one condition is relaxed in such questions, it may result in multiple arrangements possible. So, please make sure that you check with all initial conditions before you finalize the answer. Do not leave even one condition unchecked. Let us now look at a selection question. Refer questions Q5 to Q9. The office staff of XYZ Corporation presently consists of 3 bookkeepers, A, B, C, and 5 secretaries, D, E, F, G, and H. The management is planning to open a new office in another city using 2 bookkeepers and 3 secretaries of the present staff. To do so, they plan to separate certain individuals who don't function well together. The following guidelines were established to set up the new office. Bookkeepers A and C are constantly finding fault with one another and should not be sent together to the new office as a team. C and E function well alone but not as a team. They should be separated. D and G have not been on speaking terms and shouldn't go together. Since D and F have been competing for promotion, they shouldn't be a team. And the questions that follow are: Question 5. If A is to be moved as one of the bookkeepers, which of the following cannot be a possible working unit? Question number 6. If C and F are moved to the new office, how many combinations are possible? Question number 7. If C is sent to the new office, which member of the staff cannot go with C? Question number 8. Under the guidelines developed, which of the following must go to the new office? And finally, question number 9. If D goes to the new office, which of the following is or are true? 1. C cannot go. 2. A cannot go. 3. H must also go. And the options are A for 1 only, B for 2 only, C for 1 and 2 only, D for 1 and 3 only. Please note carefully the construction of the options. It is not like in the previous questions. Here, you have 3 conclusions given and you're asked to find out which one of those 3 are true. Now, let us see what the key aspects in attempting such questions are. The questions, along with the pros of the problem, are very lengthy. It will take at least a minute to go through them carefully and in detail. So, repeated reading of the questions is not an option because it will lead to a huge loss of time. Therefore, we need to make sure that we will read the questions only once. We can do that by making sure that we create a diagrammatic representation of the data given in the question as and when we read the question. My figure for the problem will be as given in the slide. See, XYZ is a company, A, B, C are the bookkeepers, D, E, F, G, H are the secretaries, 2 out of A, B, C have to be selected, 3 out of D, E, F, G, H have to be selected. A does not work well with C cannot work with E, D cannot work with G, and D cannot work with F. A diagram does not mean a beautiful representation at all. It is drawn in such a way that the relevant things are understandable to the person attempting the question. In short, you should be able to understand what you have drawn. It's that simple. The difference between a diagram and the pros is that it takes a lot of time from the pros to gather data, whereas it takes only a few seconds to get the same amount of data from a picture. Hence, drawing a diagram will save a lot of time in attempting such questions. The representation given in the slide shows all the details given in the question in the pros. It says that the company name is XYZ, states the participating people's names and the relation between them. As is the nature when the relation is between 2 members of the group, it is depicted so, and if it is different, it is depicted so. In short, all data can be gathered from the figure at one look. It does not mean that this is the one and only way to draw the figure. Any figure in your mind that will be able to clearly express these pieces of information will suffice. The 5th question wants us to choose the option that is not in line with the requirements. I repeat, the 5th question wants us to choose the option that is not in line with the requirements. The word cannot is very important. If you miss that, every option will be correct and you are most likely to mark option 1 as the answer. So I recommend whenever you see negative words, please underline those words. This is to ensure that you do not make a mistake by not being careful about the negativity of the question. Here, D cannot work with G, that is given in the question. So, the answer is option 2. In question number 6, we know C cannot work with E and D cannot work with F. If C and F are moved, then E and D cannot be part of the team. So, all the remaining secretaries will have to be part of the team because there has to be 3 people in the team, and if 2 from 5 are not there, the other 3 will have to be there. Obviously, A cannot be there as C is there. Hence, only one possibility occurs. That is, B, C, F, G, H only. B, C, F, G, H only. Question number 7. If C is sent to the new office, then A and E will not go, which is very clear from the data given. So, out of 4 secretaries, 3 will have to go. This is because E cannot go already. But if D goes, 2 from that set will not be able to go. So, D cannot go. In question number 8, from the data we know A and C will not go together. There has to be 2 bookkeepers from the 3. Therefore, B will go for sure. In question number 9, if D goes to the new office, G and F will not go. So, the remaining secretaries will have to go. So, the 3 secretaries that go are D, E and H. When E goes, C will not go. So, the 2 bookkeepers will be A and B. Therefore, the statements 1 and 3 are true. It is very confusing to listen to all these questions simultaneously. Ensure that you try and get the answer. In case you are not able to understand how we got to the answers or what the answers are, listen to this slide very carefully, repeatedly. Listen to this slide very carefully, repeatedly. Once again, it will be pertinent to note these points here as far as solving the selection questions are concerned. 1. Represent data pictorially so that data is accessible quickly. Point number 2. Do not read the data again and again. Use the picture. 3. Draw the picture in such a way that all parts of data are understood by you till the solution is found out. Do not forget your own diagram. 4. Use a step-by-step approach to solving questions so that you can reach the answer faster and with lesser mistakes. Now, let us look at the example of a puzzle. Refer the questions 10 and 11. In a temple, the devotees have to pass through 3 gateways. At the end of each gateway, there is an idol, and as a devotee passes through the gateway with some flowers, the number of flowers double. Ram enters the first gateway with some flowers, and he puts same number of flowers at each idol, and at the end he is left with none. And the questions are: question number 10, how many flowers did Ram start with? Question number 11, how many flowers does he put at each idol? There are 2 ways of approaching any puzzle. One is mathematical and the other is trial and error. Here, as in all analytical questions, trial and error is mostly the way students approach the solution of most puzzles. Here again, each error will take you closer to the answer, and hence all the errors should be motivation to move forward and not to go back. Here, the approach should remind us of the children's comics and storybooks that we read. The puzzles are these questions in a little advanced form, that's all. The diagram shown in the slide is a pictorial representation of data given in the question. Here again, look at the fact that the picture comes to good help. Look at the representation of data in the sequenced format. Give special attention to the levels of representation. This is to avoid the mix-ups that may happen otherwise. Look carefully. If Ram would have started with X flowers, as he crosses the first gateway, it doubles to become 2x. he will give y to the first idle. So he is left with 2x minus y. It doubles to become 4x minus 2y. He again gives y to the next idle, as the number of flowers that he gives to each idle is the same. Now he is left with 4x minus 3y flowers. It doubles in the next gateway to 8x minus 6y flowers. He gives y flowers again to the idle. Therefore, mathematically, he is left with 8x minus 7y flowers. But in reality, he has none left. From the data, we know that 8x minus 7y equal to 0. Therefore, x by y equals 7 by 8. What is x? X is the number of flowers that Ram started with. What is y? Y is the number of flowers that Ram put at each idle. Now, the answers become very evident from this result. The learning from this chapter in terms of attempting and solving analytical reasoning questions can be summarized as 1. Application of common sense is very important because these are things that you would have learned through observations in life, or street smartness in you should come to the fore here. The second one is that there are two methods for attempting any analytical reasoning questions. One is the classical method. This is to be used only when you are absolutely free of stress and tension. Otherwise, there is a chance that you will make mistakes. The second method is trial and error. Here, make sure that the answer that you arrive at is correct by looking at the initial conditions or data given. Please remember that you should check all initial conditions and not only selectively look at the initial conditions. The approach towards analytical reasoning questions should also include 1. Representing data in a diagrammatic form as much as possible. 2. Representation should be in such a way that it is understandable to you even if it is not understandable to anybody else. This definitely saves time. 3. Never look at acceptability of the diagram. Make sure it serves the purpose. And finally, when you do trial and error, you should make sure that it serves as inertia elimination, and each mistake should do enough to motivate you to go and approach the problem again till such time that you get to the answer. In short, mistakes should motivate you to go further and seek the answer, and should not demotivate you to drop the question midway and leave. All the best in attempting analytical reasoning questions. Thank you.